Hello, welcome to the next episode of The Inner Estate. This is Bridget Stewart, and I'm here today with Lauryn Eadie. Lauryn is with Real Brokerage in Northern Virginia, primarily based out of Reston, but I know that you cover more of Northern Virginia. Lauryn, thank you for being my guest today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Well, I'm excited too because I want to talk to you about a couple of very dynamic forces, not just in our industry. We are both more at 20 years plus in real estate, but really applies almost in any industry. So if someone out there is a manager or in some other kind of sales, I think what we're going to talk about today is really going to be appealing to them as well. That you currently are not just growing your production side of your real estate team, Circadian Realty, you are also interviewing agents to bring on and impacting both colleagues and clients. And part of the way you're doing that is by having conversations around motivation and what a lot of people call a big why. Like, why are we doing all of this? Could you share with us a little bit about those conversations and how that's impacting your success, and just share with us how that's showing up for you?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the why is always a conversation that people have had. I mean, we've been in conferences and yada, yada, and everyone's like, what's your big why? And sometimes it's harder to really establish than others. I think it took me a little while actually to find. I mean, we all have to pay our bills, right? Like we
Right.
have to
Yeah.
pay our bills. So like that's great. So like, yes, here's my survival and that's my why. But beyond that, why do I want to grow? Like, why do I consistently want to do more, do better, change? And the why for that is really that in any business that you own, for me, whether it's real estate or any other business, really, especially small businesses,
Right.
we could have a job that would pay our bills. But why do we choose to do this? And it gives me the freedom to be in charge and in control of the outcome. And that then becomes why I have to hustle. Because if I'm not, and I'm in charge of the outcome,
Right.
right? So mine is that I want to be able to give my family choices that I dreamed of 20 years ago.
Right.
And now they're like my reality, and I keep upping the game, right? Like before it was like I wanted to go to certain level of vacation. And then it was like, well, I'm going to take more than one of those vacations every year. Or I want to be able to walk into a store and say, I like it. I want to buy it without having to be like, well, can
Right.
I make that happen? Or do I need to reach a goal to be able to do that?
Right.
And 5, 6 years ago, I did have to set a goal to then be able to do that.
Hmm.
And once I did that, I was like, well, I'd rather just consistently be doing that and not have to set it as a goal.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You wanted to be able to have that financial flexibility that any day or any month, if you wanted it, you could achieve it. You could go and buy it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, we all have to make sacrifices, right? Like you can't do everything all big all the time.
Right.
You have to choose what the bright and shiny that gets you going is. Like for some people, it's a brand new car. That's not
Right.
me. For some people, it's flying first class. Not me. But I will sacrifice going to Starbucks and I will drink my coffee at my office for free or go like in
Hmm.
my house. Like you will never very rarely catch me at at a coffee shop paying $8 for a cup of coffee. But
Right.
I know people that are friends of mine that like that is their thing. They budget that in. Like that's their special treat. Every day they're gonna go get a 20-ounce venti. And my thing is like purses, shoes, and travel,
Right.
And
So it's
so
good. You found what would get you excited. I really like that moment where you were setting short-term goals.
mhm.
And once you achieve the short-term goal, then you were able to go and say, buy the purse, right? And then you had that moment, which I'm imagining probably took place in a store while you were buying one of the reward purses, that you went, wait, it challenged your financial thermostat. You're like, wait, I'm going to raise my financial thermostat where
Mhm.
this is my baseline every day. And if I come in and I want that purse, I'm going to be able to buy it 99% of the time without giving it investigation or reflection on, is that a financially sound decision to make?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm also a little bit of a person that if I get too comfortable, I actually have to almost go and put myself in one of those positions
Hmm.
because it will fuel me more. And now I'm like, we probably shouldn't have bought that, but
I guess I
now
better
I'm
get
gonna go.
into action. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, don't tell my financial planner, but it really is also though being able to rely on the fact that my business is in such a sound place that I can have valid expectations of what my next quarter is going to look like.
Correct. Yes, you are an actual realtor that is a strong business owner. So you run it like a business, you're able to do projections, you factor in conversion rates and potential fallout rates. You
Absolutely.
have realistic expectations of what will happen from various lead sources, and you're operating as a owner of a multi-million dollar sales corporation.
One of the yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that I found, a couple years ago, and I try to go through really every quarter and redline my credit cards because it's so easy to add these subscriptions,
Yeah.
and then you're like, you don't even know you're paying $10 or $15 a month, and that all stacks up. One year in 2018, I redlined 180 grand
Wow. Yeah.
off of it, and so I can't even believe I didn't have 180 grand to be spending, by the way. Extra. Like,
Right,
I
right,
mean, well, first of all, really no one does. I mean, who wants to just so I just was
right.
floored. It's also the year I broke up with Starbucks because I saw how much I paid.
Yes.
I literally was like, I can't. So, but yeah, I think like being really paying attention to what you're spending money on, whether it's coffee or $4 on a Red Bull every day or whatever it is. And if that's your thing, make sure you know it's your thing.
That's right. So you're doing it with intentionality. And then
Right.
you're enjoying it and savoring it for what it is.
And
If
you're
it's
like,
the
this is
first
good. I
class,
have
you're
selected.
treating it with respect,
Correct.
right? You're
Correct.
you're embracing, enjoying, and you're reaping the benefit of making that your thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you. I wanted to bring up, so tell us a little bit with your team this year. How are things going on your team this year?
So we have expanded substantially this year. It was just my husband and I and admin help last year. And this year we have onboarded in the first 6 months 5 licensed agents.
Right. So it's a
And
time
we
of
are
growth.
growing.
Yes. And you are also, and I don't know, but I know that you're having a good year production wise. Is this
We're
going
having
to
our
be
best
in
one.
the best one? That's what I was going to say, but I wasn't.
And Q1, it was awful, by the way, like awful. And yet somehow ending Q2, we were at more volume and gross commission than I think we've have ever been. And I have to look back, but we're really close to being on track or even beating 2021,
Excellent. Okay. That's what
which
I
is
was hoping.
bananas, right? Bananas.
Yes, it is.
And I was sweating
You,
Q1, don't get me wrong.
oh, no, I know. I know. Yeah. And you can't turn that around. This is actually part of what I know about you as a businesswoman and as a business owner is part of that success and getting ready to have 2025 be your best year ever in a 20-year career. So this is saying something, especially with those key spike years in COVID that were just so huge, right? One of the things that I've seen that you're able to do is if you see a gap, you will figure out a short-term way to cover it. Might be 8 weeks, might be 12, sometimes it's 30 days, right? But you will set a short-term goal and you will say, I'm going to do a full court press and I'm making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe, if it's okay to share, that you rallied the troops with your team and
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And you were like, guys, we're going to have the biggest July we've ever had in the history of my business. Biggest one
Yeah.
month ever. And then for the last 2 months, the whole team's been working towards that
Yeah, we
under
have
your
July
guidance.
is the biggest month I've ever had in my real estate career. It's
Right.
crazy.
And that took the decision to make it happen, immediately rallying the troops, immediately claiming yourself, correct me if I'm wrong, but you decided in yourself, I am making this happen. They will come along with me, but it's happening whether I'm alone or that they're with me, right?
100%.
And you made that decision, and then you were like, who do I need to be today? What do I have to do to make July the biggest month ever?
And you can't ask people to show up and do something that you are not showing them that you're doing. Right. So I just wanted to crush it. And I knew that I wanted to put myself in a better position through Q3 and Q4 than I felt in Q1.
Right.
And so I just was like, head down. And I do better with short-term goals, honestly. Like long-term goals, I think are great for some people. Like, I just don't know. It's just not for me. I'm so much better at a short-term goal. I think it's kind of like, I was a D1 athlete, right? So like you go to practice and you've got your mind on one game.
That's right.
The next game. Like that's what you're focused on. And so then you get through that game and then it's like, okay, now what's the strategy for the game after that? Did I end up after game 1? Where do I need to be at game 2? And so I think that's probably partially why I really thrive in a short-term goal. Like it's very intense. It gets me up and like the juice is flowing every morning and it's like boom, 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 boom. So I find that I'm substantially more effective at a short-term goal. But then I reach that goal or that goal timeline is over and it's like, great, now what's the new one?
That's right. Yeah. So I believe you take a moment to celebrate. Great, we did it. We exceeded it. What's next? You don't wallow. You don't have a big post season of like, woohoo, July was great, right? And like, and disappear, right? So you set another immediate short-term goal. How else does this show up just in your life overall? You mentioned being an athlete, you do have a family, you're very driven to provide experiences, adventure, you have a family, but just where else in your life does an immediate short-term goal show up?
Laundry. No, right? Like, don't tell me I have to do laundry every day. Like, my mother used to do laundry every day. Immediately, no.
Right.
But like, I know that once I've set my mind to it, everything in the entire house will be laundered.
Will be done.
It's like, it's just things like that, right? Even just booking a trip, like I will always have at least one trip booked on the horizon. Right. And I was talking to one of my agents about this yesterday. I was like, we were talking about like, really, I said, what is your motivation? Because I don't actually know.
Right.
Do you know? And he was thinking about it and he said, it really is the opportunity to be able to make the choice to travel. And I don't mean small trips, like to really
like
travel.
Big. Right. Yeah.
Big, whatever that means to you. And so I challenged him. I said, good. Next time we meet, I want you to tell me where that is you're going, for how long. And I encourage you to buy your ticket, whether or not you are in a financial place to then book your room and all of the other things, that's different. But once you book the ticket, you've got a timeline. Right. And now, so I almost work backwards from the reward versus to the reward. Because I like the pressure and the challenge of it. I think I work better than that. I think some people don't and like that might give them a heart attack. I, on the other hand, I'm like, well, if I just spent the money, I better get it
done. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things, because you and I have known each other now for several years, and something that I observed as your coach and colleague is you change the focus of your short-term goals. And I don't know if you're doing it consciously or subconsciously. I'll give you an example. You may kick off the year and say, okay, for January, I'm going to do this physical challenge. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. So it's more of a physical challenge. Other times you have set something you may be doing with your husband that I'll say is like relationship building but it might be something you're doing together. Like we're going to do Whole30 for 30 days, or
Hmm.
let's have dry month, or, and you kind of do that. And I've even seen you do it sometimes with something social. Like,
Hmm.
and I've seen you do it both ways, by the way. Sometimes you'll say, hey, I don't feel like we've been going out enough. Who can we invite to dinner? Can we throw a
Hmm.
party? And other times, you two have had times where you're just out almost every night and you go like, hold on a minute, and we're going to rein it in, right? So I do see that power of when you set the short-term production goal, I'll call
Hmm.
it. But I think part of your strength is that you rotate it through. Sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's individual, sometimes you do something with your husband or family.
There was a time, I think it was 2 years ago, and you and I were talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, like in our area, in our type of job and the social atmosphere, it is quite possible we could be out every night
Every night.
at
Yep.
cocktails, entertaining, having dinner, something, right? And I don't think that's really common for a lot of other professions. Like people go to work and they come
Correct.
home. And so then they maybe have one night out a week or every 2 weeks. Whereas, like, given our just the nature of the way that we've created relationships with people, we possibly could be out like 6 or 7 days a week. And so there was a time that we literally had to calendar. We printed out like old school calendars, and I
Right.
crossed off every other day but Thursday and Saturday. And I said, we cannot make appointment, like not work appointments, but any social type of appointment, period.
That's right.
If we're not showing a house or going on a listing appointment, we are not going out unless it is a Thursday or a Saturday.
Hmm.
And then we literally had to like calendar people out for like 2 months because I'm like, oh, we're not available that day, but we can do Thursday the 8th. And
That's
we
right.
had that for like 4 months. It was a game changer at that moment.
It really was.
It was right after COVID lifted as well. So everyone was like gung ho to get out. And then we were already out. We had been out always,
Hmm.
like because of our, our business, and everyone was ready to get
Right.
out of the house and see people again. So yeah, that became a little overwhelming. And then at the end of the day, we had to take control back.
And you did. And it
Yeah.
worked well.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
prefer to be proactive versus reactive as much as possible. Given the nature of our business, we are reactive to a lot of things, but there has to be some intentionality behind it.
I want to jump, and we're going to kind of talk probably specifically to salespeople. Well, really, anyone who has a goal that they're behind on. But talking about realtors right now, you and I both know it has been an interesting and dynamic couple of years in our industry, right? And you started this year off, and like you said, the first quarter was like, what on earth? Right. Not inspiring, not setting the tone for best year ever. There are other agents right now that I hope have found this and they're listening. If there's an agent out there right now that just passed mid year and they're feeling defeated, or they're feeling like they're so far behind, there's no way out, or they're feeling as if, oh, well, I guess 2025 is a dud, what would you say to them right now about how they could create change
I mean, mindset.
immediately?
No one goes in and wins a national championship thinking that they're not going to win it.
Right.
So it sounds cliche and corny, but at the end of the day, your mindset will bring you down.
Yes.
I came into this year super pumped
Yeah.
because, unpopular opinion, I love the change with the commission structure. I think
I
it's
did too.
great.
I
I
did
think it
too.
should have been done 25 years ago. I think
Me
it should
too.
never have happened the way it happened in the first place. And now it's
Correct.
back to where it should be. And I understand that that is scary for a lot of people, but it also is an opportunity to grow. And if you can't define your value to somebody else, it's probably because you don't know your own value. So I think that for me, I was like, this is amazing.
Yes.
And I don't think the outcome of Q1 had really anything to do with it. And I could have gone down, or I can figure out a way to adapt, alter my behaviors, my approach, and figure out where I'm going to get the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
when you're busy, you attract more.
more. Yes.
It's just the
But
nature of the thing. Like you can't, once you're in it, you're going to attract more business.
I absolutely agree. And when I think about what you've done, I feel like you stacked a couple of short-term goals right in a row.
Yeah.
So I feel like in first quarter, you were like, oh, this is going to be best year ever. I'm making it happen. You know, a few things went sideways and you were like, not a problem. I'm going to crush it. I think the first short-term goal that you set, and I don't recall the details, was I am going to get listings. You did listing blitz. You were like,
I took
this is
more
it.
listings this year than I've ever taken so far.
That's right. You were like, get out of my way because I'm on my way to get listings signed, right? You just were like, this is happening and I'm getting listings. And you set some short-term goals for that and then crushed it.
Yeah. And you just have to ride the momentum, right? So like, do not let the momentum fall.
And
you've got to keep it going.
You've got to keep it going. And if it's not there, you've got to create it. You just have to claim it. And I feel you did that. You were like, okay, few things sideways. Guess what? I'm getting listings. And you went for it. You know, so you picked a number and you're like, I'm taking that many listings, and you went for it. And that fueled your decision making every day. That had you excited to get up and get into action and find it, right? So we get all the listings, and then you wanted to reinvigorate your brain again, right? So then that turned into setting the giant goal for July.
Yeah. And it started, I think, mid-May or something. I said, okay, we're going to do 10 million in June. And
yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
We got into June and we had a ton of pendings. They just happened to not all fall before June 30th. And I said, okay, you know what? At the end of the day, we're still super excited about the outcome.
Right.
And now we're going to shift that. And so we're actually, I think, we're closing around 13 million in July.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, well, we got to get back to 10 in August.
That's right.
Got to get to work. Got to get to work, because the last thing you want to do is just I'm not going to have my best year yet if I let myself have one good month.
That's right. You're exactly right.
I want to consistently be proud of myself. And that doesn't mean that I'm always, gonna now have to have a $14 million month in August if I do great, but ultimately I want to continue to set my sights on that 10 million and get as close to as I can to it or over it. And if I just set my goal on that every month, I also start being more purposeful with my time, my conversations,
right?
What is actually productive? What is actually getting me to my goal? What activities and conversations are helping me get to my goal, and which are taking away the time from me getting to my goal?
Correct.
And I think a lot of people, and I can say this because I've been in business a long time, I've had conversations with a lot of agents. People come into the office and they're talking and talking and talking. That's not productive. It's not making you money. Makes you feel busy,
that's right,
but it's not making you money. And I am a little intense in that way. Is this conversation, whether today, in 6 months, or in a year from now, is this a profitable use of my time? And I don't think people are maybe ready to be as black and white or cutthroat about that with themselves.
Right. And I think you're right.
To do big things, you have to be willing to be honest with yourself, and you have to be more protective of your time.
Absolutely. I mean, that is one of the most squandered resources, especially in our industry. People often think about the budget of money, but they don't think about the budget of time.
Yeah.
And it's a chronic issue, and it's our human reality. You cannot be two places at once, and there's only so much bandwidth, and there's always so much energy reserves that you have in a day, and you have to be judicious about what you say yes to and what you say no to.
And I think, a lot of people maybe don't define what makes sense, right? So for me, it's like, okay, is this for my business? Is this a profitable or like a build, right, in my business? Okay. If it's not for that, is it for my children? If it's not for that, is it for my husband? If it's not for that, is it for me? It has to meet one of those 4 criteria.
Right.
And there is a fifth, where, you have family and friends that are dear to you that do sometimes need support that don't meet the top four things, but ultimately in the long run, it goes back to these are people that add to your life. So they add to you.
Yes.
So it really does circle
That's
back
right.
into 4.
For you. Yeah. Like,
Correct.
yes, I agree
Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
So it might not be for me that day, but the relationship is for me. And sometimes we have to give a portion of ourselves to somebody else to then it's a give and take, right? So it
Yeah,
always
the
goes back to, it
reciprocity
really
of
does always
relationship.
go back to one of those 4 things.
It does. It does.
And as I've gotten older, as I've gotten busier, as I've become more aware and strict about my goals and what I want to achieve, I am really pretty cutthroat about those 4 things.
Mhm. And I'm sure that that's really satisfying.
It's very satisfying. I know it scares some people.
Well,
You know,
I
my
think
husband
it's
and I always
really
joke, like,
inspiring.
he's the nicer one, right?
Yeah, that's
But
right. Yeah.
he's the nicer one. And that's, but
Right.
like, I jokingly say that, but I mean, in a way, it's true because I am so much more like,
Well,
Lauren's out.
well, first of all, in our discussion, we focused on what's happened in this past year. But you have had growth year after year. If someone is sitting out there thinking, oh, look at Lauren, everything is perfect and her life is easy. Is your life easy?
No.
Do you get every
No.
listing you go on?
Nope.
Does everything rainbow and daisies, as you walk through the day with...
But yeah, I have like 6 money trees just growing in my backyard.
Yeah,
They just
right.
drop,
Yeah,
just drop thousands.
right,
Yeah.
right.
They're just dropping
So I bring
thousands.
that up because your intentionality and protecting the filters of the priorities in your life. You're doing that when times are good, when times are bad, and then you're taking that inspiration of a short-term action-based goal with measurable results, and then you're stacking those back to back, and you're creating, we talked about this year, but you're creating this business that has grown and grown. It has faced challenges. It has faced setbacks. You've made changes and it still continues to grow. I want people to hear that.
And I picked real estate because I'm passionate about it. But at the end of the day, it's here to fund my life.
Yes.
And
the life that you're creating with your
myself.
choice. That's right. And your family. Because
one of my favorite quotes is, money can't buy you happiness, but it buys you choices.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's exciting. When there are people out there that find themselves very disconnected and confused by having a big why and their motivation and knowing what would get them up and going, right? There is an overlapping sometimes group of people that are not inspired by long-term goals. They will, they go to the business planning in October and where are you going to be in 2028? And they're like, oh, I don't know.
I'll be honest, none of that does anything for me. It really doesn't. And I know it does, and it's great for a lot of people. For me, it's not. I think if you're struggling to find your long-term motivation, focus with what makes you feel proud of yourself on a short term. So like one year, I really felt like it was probably 2023 maybe, or 2022. And I was really feeling like, I don't know, truly, I can't control the outcome, but I can control the input. And my phrase for that year was pride in the process.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I had to reframe that the success for me on a daily basis was completing the tasks that I knew were tried and true. And whether I saw the effects the day after or within 3 to 6 months, there was going to be a positive outcome. And I had to just take pride in completing the processes and doing them every day.
And now we're in 2025 and your phrase is not pride in the process because you have replaced it with short-term goals and you keep doing the short-term. I want everyone who may be listening to this to hear loud and clear because particularly in our industry, there's almost a pressure. Have you picked up on this, Lauren? Like if someone says, well, I'm not really sure what my long-term is, or I don't have a big why, or that people make them feel like they're doing something wrong or they're not quite good enough or like, oh, you don't have your goal. oh, you don't have your 10-year plan? And then they feel less than and feel like it's the only way. It's not the only way. Lauren and
No.
I, if we can get one message out today with this podcast, if you know that you respond to short term, lean into it. Lean into that. Set a mini business plan. Set a 30-day challenge.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like I think a lot of times too, we're so focused on it has to be a transaction or like number or a volume number or a gross commission number. I believe that some people respond really, really well to that. And
Yes.
others don't.
Don't. And it's
Others
okay.
don't. And that's
it's okay
fine,
if you don't.
If you don't respond to it, it's not going to help you.
It is not. Correct. So that's what I was
So
going to say. A lot of people.
You can put it on paper, you can put it on your bathroom mirror and lipstick. It's not going to matter.
It's not going to matter. That's right. And if people don't feel a connection to even a year-long goal, they can write it, but then all of a sudden it's not impacting their daily decision-making because they're disconnected from it. So I think what you and I are both saying is figure out what works for you and lean into that.
Absolutely.
And it is okay. Yep. And anyone who tries to tell you like, oh, you're less than because you don't know your way. No. You're finding what works for you, stack them back to back, and hit the road. There is one book, not that we have to get sidetracked into a book, but if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, they're speaking my language, 12-week year really embraces that at a high level. You literally set a succession of 12-week goals. So I'd lean into that.
I think that's great. And for some people, it could be even like do 6 open houses. I mean, again, like the goal doesn't always have to be money
the outcome. That's right.
Correct. The goal shouldn't, in my opinion, the goal, if you're in a struggle and you're trying to change that, get out of putting a performance value on yourself and get into congratulating yourself for doing the work and the efforts.
That's right. Well, I hope that anyone who may be listening is hearing inspiration, and any salesperson, agent, or even if you're a recruiter, whatever your target is, if you're at this point in the year feeling as if you're behind, just get into immediate action. Claim an immediate goal. Say, by Labor Day, I will achieve blank. And then just start doing it. It makes everything simpler. It removes decision and
people's
option.
Energy. You know?
Yes.
Find somebody with the energy that you're trying to get back.
Yes. And find the people that will say, of course you can do that, Lauren.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
How can I help? Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Check in with me. You're going to do it. Stay away from the crabs in the bucket trying to pull you down. You know, they're like, that's not possible. Really? Watch me.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like it when people tell me that's not possible.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing everything. And I do want people to know a little bit more about you. So, Lauryn Eadie, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what's your favorite platform or how can they reach out to you? I'll have all of your details in the description, but I know a lot of people are listening. So what's an easy way for them to reach out?
Instagram's the easiest.
Perfect.
Living in Reston on Instagram.
Excellent.
And I mean, that's just the easiest and generally kind of the most relationship comfortable based for people to interact.
Right.
And, you know, again, kind of going back to a comment you said before, like, do not judge your situation by what my exterior situation looks like to you.
That's right.
Things have, no matter what, things are not perfect in my life. And I believe that in your 40s, you start to learn that it doesn't just happen to you occasionally. It all piles on all at once and it never stops.
Right.
So it just keeps coming.
Yes.
And it's just a matter of resetting your expectations of what your day is going to look like. Okay. Yeah. It's not unicorns and rainbows. And, you know, there's nobody just dropping glitter every time I walk around. But I tend to thrive in a place of need. I could never win the lottery. I would never be as successful if somebody just gave it money. To you. Honestly.
Which that's an actual.
I loved.
That's an actual real dynamic, by the way. Some people that win the lottery.
I know. I have to feel like I'm coming from behind.
Good.
That's what it just. I like to feel that kind of like pressure on my back.
Right now, so you currently practice real estate. Again, we talked about Reston as your kind of center point, but that you also cover Northern Virginia.
And my team covers DC and Maryland.
But that's right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've got DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and you're currently practicing real estate with the Real Brokerage in
Yep. We're
Virginia,
with Real
correct?
Brokerage in Virginia, in McLean.
What's one of your favorite parts of that?
Of Real Broker.
Yes.
It's so collaborative. I've been with many different brokers. I've been with small East Coast brokers. I've been with large national and international companies. And in November, we came to Real. And it's funny because I think that there's a perception of a quote unquote cloud-based broker. And realistically, I would say that there's more collaboration in the last 8 months and positive reactions and engagement than I have had in a really long time with other
That's awesome.
brokers.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. And I really hope that you have reached out and inspired people like you and frankly like me. I also do well with short-term goals. I am one of those, I'd say I'm a little bit of a hybrid because I react to both in a different way. But it makes me feel sad when people that do have real connection to a short-term, I call it full court press, and they love achieving that and then stacking something else after it. For them to be made to feel as if their goals are not right or that's you're incorrect because you don't have a big why that you can recite like a poem.
Yeah.
I don't want them feeling that way.
Yeah.
You can achieve a huge business. You can be in 2 states in the District of Columbia.
Yeah.
You can be growing year over year. You can be facing challenges. And you can do it by stacking short-term goals one after the other.
Absolutely. Just
any final word?
Find what makes you want to hustle.
Find what makes you want to hustle. That's right. Well, thank you, Lauryn, and thanks for being a guest on The Inner Estate.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It was great to chat with you.